welcome to Spies and Sabotage SEA. This is a tournament hosted by Dota University. It's Dota with a twist. We had a fun, full day of Spies and Sabotage yesterday, and we are back to finish out the SEA bracket today. We have this lower bracket finals between Minguins and friends Tarts. And the winner of this match will face the waiting Garrick in the grand finals for SEA. For those of you who haven't joined us before, the way that this game works is that there are, for each match, 2 randomly selected rules that apply to both teams equally. There's then a selection of 4 sabotages pulled randomly from a pool, which can be purchased with a currency called Spies to inflict negative effects on the opposing team. If they decide they need more Spies for future matches, they can attempt to complete contracts, which, upon successful completion, will earn them additional Spies. Some of these modifiers are really interesting and a lot of fun to watch. Some of them are just a minor change to the game, but some of them really requires deep thought as to how you are going to operate around the new rules. And so we are going to jump right in without further ado and go over our first match, the lower bracket finals random rules. First random rule in play for this match is Hero Puddle. Both teams get to pick 5 additional bans. And so this happens in the lobby prior to the draft. They will tell us 5 additional bans for a total of 10 bans, 10 heroes banned before the draft even starts. The second for this match is going to be tryhards. Each team must have 3 heroes in a single lane for the first 10 minutes. We are enforcing try lanes. So that's the rules for this match, affecting both teams equally. Both teams, I believe, also have some spies saved up and ready to use. So let's see what they can spend them on with our available sabotages. Our tier 1 sabotage for this match, costing 1 spy, will be basic intel. So the purchasing team may ask any single player on the opposing team to reveal their location, and this has 2 charges. They can do it twice. The tier 2 sabotage for this match will be last hit trainer. The enemy team cannot buy quelling blades. The tier 3 sabotage, costing 3 spies, will be one size fits all. The enemy team must choose one type of boot upgrade. They are only allowed to purchase that upgrade. It's worth noting that the afflicted team gets to choose the boots. So you purchase this sabotage for the enemy team, and they get to pick which boot upgrade they would like to build. They can have brown boots and the boot upgrade, but no other boot upgrades. The 4th and final sabotage available for purchase in this match is no posts. The enemy team cannot recapture outposts. Once your outposts have been taken, you cannot take them back. So let's take a look at all of these lined up. We have basic intel, last hit trainer, one size fits all, and no posts. Our casters for this match are going to be Cage, and I just realized I never caught your name.
Doms. My name is Doms.
Hello, Doms. Welcome to the cast. Doms, Cage, what are your thoughts on the available sabotages for this match? And if you were a captain of this team, or one of these teams, what would you be thinking as you're corralling your players and getting ready for the draft? How would you build your strategy around these options?
Well,
I think.
Doms, you want to
Go
go
ahead.
first?
Now you can go first.
Okay. Well, personally, I mean, I've been harping on about this since our first elimination match, and if it was me and I was one of the captains, this is a do or die situation, right? If I want my chance in the grand finals to actually win this tournament, I've got to win this game. So I think all gloves off, I take as many as I can take, just to give myself as much an advantage as I can get.
I think one size fits all kind of meh compared to no post though. Because everyone could just buy treads and it doesn't matter too much with how strong treads it's. Like, at worst it's like 200 or something health, right? So, I would personally, I would just get no post and last the trainer. Not being able to get the quell is such a big difference. Since you can't contest denies as well without the 18 damage you get. And especially no post in late game, you can get so much XP advantage personally.
Um, if the enemy team knows about last hit trainer though, because they do know that like they will be notified if the enemy team purchases that particular sabotage, and it's quite easy to have a draft where none of the heroes buy Quelling Blade, and yeah, I feel like if I had to like if I was only like limited in if I was limited in the choices I can make, no post and basic intel would be the two that I would choose, because we were talking about the same thing last night. Basic intel is not only intel, it's also a stun, because they have to stand there and type, right?
See, I like the way you think, but one thing I will point out is I watched 18 hours of Spies and Sabotage yesterday. We had many teams purchase basic intel and its tier 4 brother advanced intel, where you get to ask the entire enemy team for their location, and not once ever across all, 14, 15 games we played yesterday, did any team actually use that sabotage. They would purchase it and then not use it.
That is true. I mean,
guess the,
in the games I casted as well, we did comment on the same thing. Not a single team actually used it. I think in the heat of the game, they're trying so hard to win, they're trying so hard to play to the best of their ability, they actually just completely forget about having this tool, like really handy tool available to them. And I feel like some of the games that we saw yesterday would have just gone differently if the intel was just used in some way. And so I'm hoping that with their backs against the wall this time, and I know that Team Minguins, their captain is he's got some brain cells, all right. He's got a slightly bit more brain cells than your average Dota player, I think, and I hope that he'll remember to use it.
Speaking of captains, I do have a note from our commissioner. So Team Ren on the Radiant have been assessed a level 2 draft penalty. So that is minus 70 seconds to their reserve time. This is due to tardiness in preparing for the lobby. We do have to move along here. We do have the sabotages selected by the teams, and those are being sent over right now. Okay, so the only selected sabotages for either team is Dire opting to select last hit trainer. So Radiant not allowed to buy Quelling Blades. It's the only sabotage in play. So right now, modifiers for this game: enforced tri lanes for the first 10 minutes, and an additional 5 bans for each team before the draft. And so those have actually also been selected, and they've been merged together in one list. The heroes not available to be picked, this will not show up on the overlay as bans, but additional bans for this match will be Nature's Prophet, Treant, Magnus, Doom, Venomancer, Faceless Void, Ricky, Anti-Mage, Sven, and Gyrocopter. And I will get those into a note on the screen as well. The last available thing that we have to cover before we jump into the draft is the contracts. So this is a lower bracket elimination match. Whichever team loses this match is done in the tournament. They do not continue. Their ride stops here. However, for the winning team, they go on to the grand finals match, a best of 3, where their spy economy will be put to the test. So now is the time for them to try and acquire some more spies before they head into that match. And they do that with contracts. Let's see what they selected. Radiant chose to go for a tournament favorite, and that would be 3K behavior score. I've been told that this is essentially just SEA pubs. Nothing special going on here. When a member of your team dies while they are dead, they must all chat, blaming their team for their death. The other contract that Radiant has chosen to go with is Get Down, Mr. President. This is a contract which you select a member of your team to be the president. If they make it 15 minutes with 0 deaths, then you get 4 spies as reward. If the opposing team kills your president, they take that 4 spy reward. And those are the 2 contracts that Radiant selected. Dire also selected 1 contract. Their contract for this match will be Great Migration. So they have to group up as 5 at one end of the river and walk the length of the river, making sure that at least 4 members of their team remain alive. They are also not allowed to use smoke and deceit. We saw this yesterday, and it seems like the best strat is to do it immediately. Before the runes spawn, just get it out of the way right away. And so all of this together, 10 additional bans, enforced trial lanes for the first 10 minutes. Radiant can't buy Quelling Blades. Before we jump into the draft, Doms, Cage, give me your thoughts. Get into the minds of our captains here. What would you be looking for in the draft? How would you build your strategy around this? Just give me a quick minute on what you're thinking here.
I think Get Down, Mr. President is actually a really smart pick, because your supports are locked in the lane for 10 minutes, right? So in reality, in itself, you only have to not die to the enemy laner for 10 minutes, and then your 5 minutes just hide in jungle, and that's pretty much a free 4 spies. I think it's a really smart pick.
But what if the enemy team punishes you by going aggro try into whichever lane your president is in?
Then you send your Mr. President mid. They can't aggro try mid, can they?
I mean,
Yes.
that would be unorthodox. Yeah.
Well, we will see very, very soon. I just want to give a quick shout out to our audience. Thank you for joining us once again. For those of you in SEA, I know it's the evening right now, but I believe we also have some NA and EU viewers for which it is very, very early. This tournament has been a great ride, and I'm excited to continue it. So without any further ado, I will give you our SEA lower bracket finals match casted by Cage and Doms. Take it away.
Radiant team pick.
All right, Doms, let's take it away. So draft has already started,
Team pick.
and we are about to see the first picks come out. Lich, Jakiro for Radiant and Dire respectively. Any initial thoughts on their bans or the picks, Doms?
I think including the first 10 bans, they have to be very, very careful what carries they can pick. We see some of the best carries in this patch get banned out, like Sven Spectre, Void, Anti-Mage. So if they pick all the supports early, they could be very vulnerable to carry pick. They might pick something very strange.
That is true. Like, they with all these meta carries out of the picture, this second phase of bans could just spell the end
10
for
seconds remaining.
basically like maybe even a couple of the players' hero pools, right?
5
We have to
seconds
keep in
remaining.
mind these players are not world-class players. They're just trying to learn the game, so they're not gonna know how to play every hero. They're not even gonna know how to play every carry.
I'm gonna
And
jump in here real quick. We have a word from production that we are remaking this lobby. This lobby is being remade, and so we will rejoin the lobby and get this draft back up
Okay.
as soon as possible.
oh, from
Deepest
what it
apologies.
Okay, no, that's okay. That's all good. So it looks like what happened was, for judging from the reserve time, we applied the penalty to the wrong team, is what I would guess at.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay. That's okay. That's okay, but like we already know what their first couple. Are they gonna be forced to make the same couple of bans and picks, or complete remake?
I believe it is complete remake, but I also believe that the ten picks already selected, those remain the same.
Okay, so
The-
the bands that have been selected outside of the lobby remain the same. And so, okay. So we can just have a discussion about that in the meantime, because I'm looking at the bands and it's a lot of very meta heroes. Like you have the Doom, you have the Magnus. Those are banned. You, like Dom said, the Sven, the Ricky, the Faceless, the AM. Those are all gone. So it does look like both teams has a decent grasp on the meta, and essentially they're treating these as extra initial bans on heroes that are just bothersome.
I think
And
we could see some very interesting post one picks come out. Like we might actually see the post one mids like Medusa, all the high carries go mid instead of going to the aggro try, and then we could see like double off laners instead of post one. Because so far it seems like whoever having to try lane for 10 minutes, if you can get an additional stun level to something like Sand King, it could make a huge difference whether you get kills or not. So I think it's very likely that they might pick something very very unorthodox in both their mid and their safe lane.
that is true, but I'm also running it through my head, and sure they have banned out quite a few of the meta heroes like we've talked about, but there are still, you can't, I don't think they've banned out all of them. There are still like a Spectre, a Terrorblade. Those are still in the pool of available heroes, and if you look at Spectre and Terrorblade, all their like, especially in the case of Spectre, all the hard counters are kind of gone, right? Like the fast accelerating cores, like the anti-mages and the Svens, and like even the Dooms and the Magnuses, who usually would make Spectre's game a lot harder than it should be. Those are out of the hero pool, and so maybe it would be viable to pick these in the first phase, just because you can easily spend your first two bans banning any really worrisome counters, and then just immediately first phase it. What can they really do?
I think a very good point. I think you could actually have a very good argument for first picking your your safe laners, because you could just ban out everyone else.
Yeah.
Because there's so many, yeah, everyone's just banned if you can get your pick and then just ban everything else. Don't let the enemy team have a single carry, and then you could have a very good game plan against them.
Yeah, for sure, but I guess at the end of the day, we'll have to see what the team captains think, right? Like, if they default to the standard pick order, I guess we would call it, then we might just see both teams forcing out very awkward position ones just because every single viable one is just banned.
That is true, but I think there's also value in picking some very unorthodox things to win the safe lane. Like let's say you pick Slark and then you ban out everything else, and then suddenly you pop up a Sand King, Jakiro, and the Grimstroke, and then your Slark's just dead. He can't do anything for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this draft will pan out. Judging from what we saw before the lobby got remade, uh, both teams were just defaulting to, the whole picking supports first and then carries in the second phase. Um, and yeah, like that pretty much means that the scenario I described where we're just gonna run out of carry picks could be very possible. Like, we already have another carry ban, Terrorblade, and honestly, this is shaping up to just be a really good Spectre game already, right? Like, the conventional
Yeah, definitely.
counters are just all gone, and Spectre isn't exactly out of the meta.
I would be slightly worried since Spectre might not get a good lane against a aggro try, but we'll see. I think there could be potential if you can dodge it.
That uh Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really keeping track of the scene, and I was barely playing Dota when tri-lanes were a thing. But I'd imagine Spectre tri-lanes would just be there to make sure she gets her gold, right? And running a tri-lane now would it still be the same goal, except, well, there is no exception, right? Like, it's still the same goal.
Yeah.
The tri-lane, I think Spectre doesn't mind a tri-lane. And speaking of tri-lanes, why are we not seeing, the best tri-lane hero? Where's the Undying?
I Are they saving it for an offlane surprise pick? you know, fool them into thinking you pick both your supports, and then suddenly it's like a Grimstroke Undying Jakiro into your safe lane. That
Ooh,
could be terrifying.
that would be terrifying, and I don't think there's.
10
I
seconds
don't think you
remaining.
can pick anything to, you know, beat that tri-lane. That Undying's just gonna wreak
Yeah.
havoc on whatever you throw at him.
I think if Dire actually picks Undying, they have a very strong advantage in that tri lane.
Radiant team
Because as far as I can see, Lich Willow isn't gonna stand up to a Brimstroke Jakiro.
That is
Ellen
true.
and Undying, yeah.
But then that does leave your carry, you know, stranded alone. I don't think they would want that, right?
Radiant might have been. They might pick some weird off lane and go try with it, and then they set the President as the off lane. So maybe Radiant picks the Undying, and then they just have this immortal snowballed Undying that's just unkillable.
True.
It could happen.
Um, speaking of
10
picks and
seconds
bans,
remaining.
possible picks and bans. If we look at the bans,
5 seconds remaining.
the,
Mm,
I think we're not gonna have a single carry remaining on the available after this phase. We already have the POs and the Lifestealers. They're gone. The Ursa Juggernaut also gone. I wonder when the teams are gonna wise up and realize that, hey, Spectre's very, very powerful here.
Radiant team.
And
Oh.
as I say that, Team Minguins is just gonna ban it out of the hero pool. Kind of makes sense if they're really worried about the enemy team securing it before them, because Ren's Tarts does have first pick in this second phase, and they could just snatch it away from Minguins.
10 seconds remaining.
But yeah,
Um,
let's see
yeah.
how they respond with this last ban
5
before
seconds
we enter
remaining.
into the second phase of picks.
I'm curious what carries are left. They could be wanting to pick Drow if they go for the Spectre ban.
Radiant team pick.
A Dragonite ban, interesting.
Interesting. Do you think that's a Dragonite ban because they're trying to foresee what Team Minguins is gonna pick? Or it's just a Dragonite ban because they don't think they can deal with a Dragonite, or their lineup doesn't like playing into a Dragonite?
I think they're afraid of the Grimstroke Dragonite combo in tri lane. Because you can just run that DK up and stun. A Viper pick, interesting. You think it's a Viper mid? Or it's a safe lane Viper?
I think right now that would be a flex, right? You can potentially run it in all three lanes, although I don't think you want to run the Viper in whichever lane is having the tri lane,
10 seconds
because
remaining.
the hero is not that strong as a like
5
without
seconds remaining.
experience, and so that's why you usually see him being run mid. And so I think this would most likely be a mid lane Viper unless they somehow manage to counter it really hard, at which point they might switch it over to one of the side lanes.
There's an argument to be made for that Viper level 1 slow and your Willow and a Lich though. You could run anyone down.
That is, I mean, that you make a good point. But yep, okay, so like we
Oh.
said, the Undying does end up coming out. Buds seems to have a, well, he does seem to have his head screwed on right today. Immediately with the Undying, which I can only assume is the position 3, right?
Yeah,
The other
I like
alternative
this
is
pick.
a Jakiro position 3?
I think it has to be an Undying Free. It's the only hero that can somewhat scale. And it makes the most sense to get the experience if we're playing aggro tri lane, so... I like this pick. It's so much pressure. They can't play Viper in the safe lane now.
Yeah.
So I would
yeah.
assume with the Void Spirit 3 and the Viper 1, it could be a Myth Void Spirit.
Yeah, so far it does look like Renstar has a very versatile core draft.
5 seconds
Their
remaining.
Viper, their Void Spirit can both be run either mid or in one of the side lanes, and they can hopefully adapt to it as the draft progresses. But at the same time, I don't think you can really adapt to an Undying tri-lane that's literally gonna ruin whoever's in that lane. It's just
Yeah.
unlaneable, right?
I think just if you sack it, you can't contest that lane at all. Especially with a Grimstroke and Jakiro. One stun and you're just dead.
Yeah. The
I'm more
Moose...
curious, who's the president on Radiant side though? So
Right
far
now-
they don't have a good president candidate.
Yeah, they even banned out DK, right? Like, I would say DK is one of the best president candidates. He's hard to kill, and paired with a Lich Dark Willow, he could very possibly just turn any commitment onto him into kills for himself.
Yeah, definitely.
It does look like Radiant thinks, Minguins, Team Minguins thinks that Ren's Tarts are still missing a position 1, and as we see the Troll get banned out for them, and PA picked up for Minguins. Do we have any observations about that other than it's into a Viper, and
10
I
seconds
think
remaining.
I don't know, I feel like PA into Vipers not great for the PA if they manage to lane. If like Ren's Tarts manages to manipulate the lanes in such a way that Viper ends up against the PA, I don't think it's gonna be a good time for the PA.
I'm not even sure if it's good in like mid late game because the break is so annoying to play against SPA.
Yeah, that is true, but Viper does just get if he doesn't itemize correctly, he might just get bursted by the PA. And you know, BKB is a natural item that PAs do build. So I feel like in that matchup in the mid to late game actually might not be as difficult for the PA.
Yeah, I think Minguins are going for an early game draft, and PA is one of those heroes that can just get Deso and then just go. They might be trying to end this game before like 20 minutes.
True. And even if they don't, I feel like with the PA Undying and just their whole lineup in general, I feel like they have a huge power spike for sure in the early game. But if they aren't able to completely close out the game using that power spike, they aren't they're not too worried about it going late because I don't see a tombstone solution yet from Ren's Tarts. Like, the only one you have is maybe the Viper, but if he's standing still hitting the tombstone, then PA is just gonna get on top of him and he's just gonna get eviscerated by the crits. So
Yeah,
yeah, I would like to see Radiant draft some kind of hero that can deal with the tombstone. Although none come to mind unless they are planning on running the Viper safe lane maybe and then a Lina mid or something. It looks Ren's Tart's draft looks very awkward right now as Minguins continues to just double down on banning carries and Slark is also just gone now. What carries are even left in the pool?
I think you can play some weird Snapfire post free, and then you run it in the tri lane, and then you have a way to deal with Tombstone in lane and in the game. But then I'm worried for the late game and tower push. Right now they lack a late game physical damage dealer and any tower push basically.
Speaking of tower push, both teams do lack like legitimate tower push. The only one right now is pretty much the PA, and she doesn't hit towers. She's not traditionally a tower hitter.
10 seconds remaining.
So I think both teams
Yeah.
are looking for that hero, and I have heard that Junkerjitsu, or in this particular game, I think he is Anne, some scuff version of Anna, I think, or Thompson actually. He might just be Thompson. He's but yeah, I think I heard behind the scenes that he was picking Linas in pubs, but it does look like it's gonna be an Ember Spirit coming out from him. That does not solve their tower damage issue at all. And if Ren's Tarts also, you know, pick something that doesn't hit towers, then we might just have a game where we just have both teams at each other's throats, but no team's actually really able to close out the game.
A Luna last pick coming in. Is this their solution to Undying?
I can see it. The passive will work since you do have two ranged supports. However, I still don't think it's strong. It's strong, but I don't think it's as strong as an Undying tri-lane.
Yeah, definitely. It's three heroes with like no strength against an Undying. I don't know how they can even do anything in this lane, to be honest. Maybe they play the Viper or Void Spirit in the tri lane and then just let Luna farm up. Because Luna can deal with PA very well in the mid game to late game, so. And
That
it's
is-
also a form of tower push.
Although we've been operating under this entire time under the assumption that Minguins is gonna run an aggro tribe, but what if they decide to sack the Undying instead? I think that would be a huge mistake, personally. Because first of all, the guy
Yeah.
can't catch up, and second of all, you're wasting a huge advantage there. But what if that was the case? How would the game look?
If both teams play a tri lane safe lane, I think Dire's gonna lose a lot because their Undying is just for winning the tri lane. I don't see any other point for picking Undying because, yeah, as you said, he's a hero that cannot catch up, so you have to win early with him if you're picking him as a core. And I think without the Undying, their team loses the anchor that they can fight around when they want to go for the 5-man death push.
Yeah, you do make really good points there. Especially that point about the anchor. Yeah, if the Undying does not come online and if he gets shut down, there really is no front line for the Dire. And even as I say that, what is there? You know, like almost every lineup has some signal that is like go go go, right? Like if a Centaur blinks in and stuns, that's your signal to just commit to this fight. What is Dire's signal? Like, what are they gonna use to, you know, like force a fight right now? They don't, other than like the Undying walking in, or maybe the Ember just chaining someone. Is there anything?
I think Abyssal Undying is what they're gonna go for.
Abyssal
You go
Undying?
Blink Abyssal Dying, yes, and then you go in for your Ember and PA. That's how you start fights. You
Okay,
don't
and
have a stun, but you do it yourself. Just buy it.
it does look like they are gonna be attempting their contract of walking along the length of the river. If they do not go well here, they may just have thrown the game away. It does look like Radiant will spot this out. They do have vision of this. Meanwhile, Dire has no idea that this is happening. So, will Radiant decide to try and counter this play? It doesn't look like it. It looks like they are just going to kind of watch these ducks waddle along the river, not really trying to help them. I'm not sure whether the PA counts. Does this still count as her walking along the length of the river? Even though she, like, you know, exited the river?
It kind of is along the length of the river, right? I'm not sure on this one. But it doesn't look like Radiant will contest it. They're too far away, and
However,
yeah,
it does
level
look like
Undying.
Dire, Minguins will give up a rune by doing this. And so the rune trade is gonna be 3 in the favor of Ren's Tarts, as they recognize that the Team Minguins just does not have anyone to take these runes.
It will be interesting to see how their lanes play out. It might be, as you say, they might actually... Oh, these
Yeah.
lanes are very interesting. Undying's solo offlane against the Trident Viper, Lich, and Willow, while Luna's solo offlane against the Radiant.
This is,
Trident.
you know, we ran through all the possible scenarios in our head like Doctor Strange, but this was the only one we did not foresee.
Oh, wow! This is. I don't even know who comes out ahead of this, because this Luna's completely sacked.
Yeah.
She's not gonna get anything.
She's already being completely zoned out from the first creep wave, and Taki announces his presidency. I don't see any reason for Team Minguins to rotate over to kill him. Meanwhile, these guys are they need to get these creeps off him.
Wow, but Undying's having a fine time. The lane is pushing into him. He's gonna get all the solo XP. I don't think he's suffering at all compared to Luna. Especially since she didn't get Lucent Beam. She got a passive and she can't get anything.
Oh no, this is a serious misplay coming out from Ren's Tarts, as their team captain left on her lonesome in the top lane against 2 of these supports who are just completely zoning her out of the XP range. If we look at the CS right now, she is 0 to 0 compared to her counterpart, the PA, who's already 8 and 8. This is just very, very sad to watch. She just
Even
feels so
for-
helpless.
Yeah, even Undying has like 4 CS and he's level 2 already. He's actually pulling the Willow away. This is... Oh no, I'm very worried for Radiant. If they do not have the Luna for late game, they could just get run over by 20 minutes.
Oh, this is... And meanwhile, Willow with a controversial move. She's gonna pull the camp for the Undying. However, it doesn't matter though, because it looks like I can't remember any of this hero's names. The Bramble Maze catches the Undying, which allows the Lich and the Viper to get in for their slows, and it looks like Cabs is gonna give off First Blood to the Radiant lineup. However, does it really matter? Because at the same time, your Luna's still 0 and 0.
At least the wave is shoved up somewhat to the Luna right now, so she can get 1 creep. Okay, her first CS in 2 minutes, but... And Undying should be concerned at all. You're trading Undying for Luna, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, and he's also getting these waves. Like, he didn't miss very many creeps by dying there, because the wave was pushing in anyway. Meanwhile, we see the Dire supports. They recognize what's up. They're already gonna pull to reset the wave. Meanwhile, Radiant supports, they miss the pull, and it looks like they might miss the stack as well. Yeah, they're gonna miss the stack. And so, yeah, Undying's just gonna continue getting plenty of XP here. And really, that's all the hero needs to function, right? You don't need that extra gold. All you need is those levels. And once you get your levels, you are a very happy man, and you're gonna just start running down some teams.
I think the only chance Radiant has to win is basically the President in the mid lane, the Void Spirit. He has to have this game on his back. Oh, speaking of which, Undying's dead, but does it even matter?
Yeah, I don't think it does. Like, we're going back to traditional offlane mentality, right? It doesn't matter if I die as long as I get my XP.
Look at Luna, she's just jungling a level 3 with a level 2 Lucent Beam. She's slowly willing at the camp away, but P is getting absolute free farm up here.
It looks like she
19,
has
15.
she's trying to execute ideas, but her item build and ability builds just are not in sync with what she wants to do. Walks into lane and aggro and a tri lane with your passive leveled up by yourself, then you retreat to jungle, but as you do that, you level 2 points in Lucent Beam. None of that makes any sense.
I think Radiant was expecting an aggro tri lane, and then so they were like big brain, and then they sent their carry up top alone because they expected the P to be alone. But then Dire actually outsmarted them by going for a.
The big question is, did Buds outsmart them, or was he equally smooth brain and just got incredibly lucky?
We never know. It's an SCA pop.
That is true. That is true. Why it seems like both teams just enjoy pulling for the opposing team, as we see Dire almost get off a hard camp pull for 2 of the Radiant's range creeps.
I have no idea what's going on. The Viper is actually getting pressure. He has 16 DK stacks on him, and the Undying is actually farming pretty well for someone to get tri-lane. He's actually matching the Viper in CS. He's only losing by 1. He's 11. Oh yeah, he's 12 to the Viper's 12 now. What is going on in this lane?
However, it does. Speaking of the lanes, like the only one that we haven't really paid attention to has been mid, where it does look like Taki has a slight CS edge over the Ember Spirit. Any particular thoughts about this? I do know that you are a mid specialist.
It's traditionally Ember's always been known as a Void Spirit counter, so I'm not too concerned for the Ember, but this is a good thing for Radiant. The fact that Void Spirit could actually win CS in this matchup means he might actually carry his whole team. But we'll have to see. He's level 6 now, so the game's actually dependent on him making moves. Speaking of which, we have 2 Radiant ops in the mid lane, observing the exact same area. This is a I guess he's a president. He needs more eyes.
It looks like the pressure of this game might just be getting to Ren's team. We have this serious misplay from the Luna. She hasn't even nothing in the rules state that, you know, you can't rotate your lanes, right? She hasn't even tried to rotate the tri lane up here or get herself out of this scenario where she has no CS, no access to reliable farm, while, you know, her Viper's not doing great either. And so they seem to just be misplaying on all fronts today.
I'm very worried because their Viper's not actually getting as much farm as PA. Viper has 21 CS while PA is leading by like 35 in the whole game, so. And I think the fact that nothing's happening in mid is so good for Dire because they're not concerned about this president at all. They don't care. Like they can get their president win, but you know they're gonna lose the game and they can't use their spies at all.
Yeah, that is true. It's similar to grinding, I don't know, cavern crawl or contracts, right? All these people doing weird stuff to try and do their cavern crawl or contract, but if you don't win the game, you're not gonna get the contract anyway. So I feel like it is a good move from Team Minguins to focus on winning the game first, and then you pick up whatever contracts you can along the way.
Exactly, and I think at least Luna's returned to jungle now.
Oh,
so
mid lane, DD. Oh no, the chains is gonna miss, and it looks like he's gonna give up his attempt. Or is he, as he continues to dive under the tower, but Taki's gonna quick pulse, pushes out the creep wave, and forces the Thompson back. Meanwhile, Undying does once again die under tower this time, it would appear, dived by the Radiant team. As he is beginning to suffer in terms of net worth, as Luna, who's able to hit jungle creeps, is now pulling ahead.
It's a very slight lead though. If you compare the cores, like somehow Viper's ahead of the PA. I think it's because of Undying kills, but Viper doesn't scale half as well as PA does, so I'm still concerned for Radiant despite their slight net worth advantage.
We even have Grimstroke who recognizes what's going on, and he's actually gone and blocked a camp. Meanwhile, mid, Thompson, another go, but out of mana. Doesn't seem like he'll be able to pursue this any further. There is a rune though. If he refills his bottle with that Invis rune, he may be able to make a play. But it looks like Taki may just beat him to it.
I like this play by the Ember. He's trading resources with this Void Spirit, so this Void Spirit can't go anywhere to gank or anything. Meanwhile, looking at the Radiant triangle, ooh, is Grimstroke gonna die? He dies, but Luna pays for her life.
And
so
PA gets the kill. That means a even faster acceleration for the Phantom Assassin.
Oh, this PA could get dangerous. Oh, she's rushing Desolator straight up too. This could get very dangerous for the Luna.
However,
Once
it does
this
look
PA
like
gets
Undying is gonna fall again in the bottom lane, and in a possible misplay feeds the Tombstone as well, and so that's just even more money going into the Radiant tri-lane of the Viper, Lich, and Willow.
We have a very interesting skill when they're dying with him maxing DK first. I actually don't hate it this game considering the fact that he wants to lower cooldown to make himself tankier against his tri-lane.
I mean, I understand that, but we talk about how they don't have a Tombstone focus, and the fact that as an Undying, Soul Rip is your best ability, and so I don't know. I don't think I agree with this build, especially since he's just gonna ignore his ulti, which is part of what slipped the hero back into the meta. It's the fact like the whole ulti got changed to give damage amp and move speed and extra health, and so I don't actually agree with this move.
I don't know. He could. It's also possible that he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, we haven't seen Trident for actually years now, so he's just confused. Maybe he went to this game thinking he's gonna like own people in an aggro Trident and he's gonna be like the best Undying all the time, and then his whole team just leaves him for the PA, and he's just sad now.
Okay, tri-lanes are now free to move around as they please. I'm tempted to see what rotations the supports are going to make. They've probably been itching this for the past 10 minutes to try and rotate and get some kind of kill. But yeah, we'll have to see what they decide to do. For the moment, it does look like both supports are just going to be staying in the top lane. However, Willow, with the first rotation in, as PA jumps the Luna under the tower, Willow not going to be able to do much to stop this as the silence is still on top of her, and the PA is going to pick up that kill, dodge the Bramble Maze, and just walk out scot-free.
That was a very nice dive by the PA. Their whole team went in, very nice coordination, and that's... Oh, is this Willow gonna die too? Oh, she's gonna get punished for this rotation.
Silence, Jakiro Ice Path, is she going to be able to get away? She is! As, oh, the dagger finishes her off, and Taki comes in trying to save his little support, but unable to do so.
Oh, and the President is up top. He's exposed against the tri-lane. This is dangerous.
I don't think PA really wants to jump in right. Oh, Viper ulti committed onto the Grimstroke. Taki jumps in with his ulti, catches the Jakiro with the Remnant, and looks like Jakiro, off the back of that, Jakiro might just fall as well as while Viper gets the slows stack. One more right click. Yep, Taki gets it. Undying with the rotation in. Ulti committed. PA jumps in. Lich armor making Viper very tanky for the moment, but those crits just keep coming through and the Viper hits the dirt.
Oh, that's a pretty bad rotation for Radiant. I guess they kept their President safe, but still, you lost your Luna, you lost your Viper only for what? You lost your Dark Willow too, only for the two supports of Dire side. I think P's been very happy. She got a lot of experience, she didn't die, she got a kill.
And the kill, yeah, and one of those was on her main contender right now, the Viper, right? And so not only does she get extra gold from the Viper, she denies extra farming time from the Viper while she also gets the farm, and so it just kind of compounds to help her get even further ahead.
Yep, exactly. I think all the Undying deaths doesn't matter at this point, because if we look at net worth, PA is actually leading by like $10, but the fact that she didn't get as much kills, but she's still at basically the same net worth Viper, I say this is only gonna get worse for Radiant.
I mean, actually,
somehow.
PA is not getting a farming item, and Viper naturally farms quite fast. So, I'm curious to see how the Viper's gonna play around this. You know, like he has the option to just farm faster than the PA, dodge fights for 20 minutes, and then come out with more items than the PA. But if they take one or two bad fights that allow Dire to just snowball into like total map control, then we just might see Dire run away with this game.
Yeah, I don't think Viper can actually farm the jungle considering how much his Luna needs it.
That is true.
Like we look at this Luna. Yeah, she's all the way down to at the 5th in the network shot. Oh, and she TP stop. Interesting. Is she looking to use an Eclipse?
Oh,
they catch a Jakiro.
Just a quick pick off on the Jakiro. Viper ulti committed, Tombstone committed, which is just going to be 125 gold for the Lich, who's going to be probably spending it on extra wards and an earlier Glimmer Cape or 4-staff. That could change things, like glimmering a Viper to save himself from the jump. Meanwhile, mid, Ember, a kill attempt on the Void Spirit, not going to succeed just due to low mana once again.
Radiant's bottom tower is
And it
under
looks like he is gonna start a rotation top.
Radiant
Meanwhile,
structures
Radiant
are fireproof.
does seem to be backing up, although I'm not sure whether it's because they had that read or whether it was just coincidence.
I think they have the read. Viper's trying to get out, but there's a chains. The CP stop. Another stun from Grimstroke. Is Radiant gonna help him? Nope. They're all TPing out and they're leaving him to die.
Alright, so it looks like Radiant has now decided to sack their Viper.
Oh, speaking of bot lane, look at it. They all TP and they're actually going for PA. Is PA gonna die here? She's so close to the Desolate and she dies to the Void Spirit. This is bad.
So it looks like both teams are just focusing on the enemy cores. They seem to recognize that the two cores on both teams are just very ahead and need to be shut down. And as we see the Orchard coming through from Hydron, keeping in mind the contracts the teams are trying to complete.
There's a slight skirmish mid. Is Luna baiting? Oh,
I think
Void Spirit
Ember
comes in.
is just baited in. No mana to run away. Eclipse committed and the Ember's just going to hit the dirt. I don't know. I think
Wow.
this Ember needs to really work on his mana management. He needs to keep a couple of spare mangoes in his inventory, as he's just always... All the kill attempts he tries to go for has just been, you know, they've been stopped not because of the enemy, but because he doesn't have enough mana.
Yeah, he's basically losing kills by himself.
Yeah, he's going for them. He's being aggressive, but he doesn't have the resources to back himself up.
If we look at Radiant Triangle, we have a very interesting situation on the camp blocking. We have two sentries blocking the exact same camp. This is how concerned they are with Luna farming.
They do have vision of a very low health Luna. However, it doesn't look like anyone is in a position to punish that, so Luna's just gonna be able to get a salve. No, she's gonna get a Morbid Mask and hopefully regen it back up in the jungle. Meanwhile, I'm seeing rotations all across the map from Team Dire, Team Minguins, as Cabs, or better known as Buds, hovers around mid, while his two supports farm the top lane. Are they transitioning this Undying into a support while they give some farm to the Jakiro? Because this is a really quick 4-star that's coming out on him.
Yeah, I think they might have just given up on the whole Undying as a core thing
Oh,
after his
Taki getting jumped mid. Forces out an ulti from the Dark Willow, and that looks like it's gonna be the end of that.
Well, there's a Desolator and PA. They might be trying to make some moves here. They could take this mid tower with this Desolator, but...
Yeah, we definitely saw how much damage Taki took from like one crit and an extra attack. However, he's gonna salve back up, and it looks like he might be looking for a re-engage. Hiding in the trees, jumps on the PA, and immediately backs out, but now the PA's gone in. Cursed Crown on him. Will it save her? It looks like she is just gonna fall, overextending a little bit. And now Undying, caught in the middle of no man's land, is just gonna take that tower and walk away. In the meantime, top lane, it looks like the trio of the two supports plus the Ember Spirit is gonna find another 2 kills on the Viper Lich. And so once again, both cores from both teams just back in base, waiting for respawn.
I think this is actually good for Radiant. Like, the Luna's farming the whole time. She's slowly catching up. She has her Mask of Mana, so she's gonna be farming a lot faster at this rate. They do lose the mid tier 1 on Radiant, and they're about to lose the top tier 1, but I think considering how far your Luna was behind.
Are they though? It looks like Rainbow TPs, Radiant wants to contest this. Quick kill by Taki on the Jakiro, but now he's out of mana and he's also forced to back away. I think everyone on both teams needs to focus on their mana issues a little bit more. A lot of kills are just being missed because they just used an initial combo, the kill is almost there, and then they just don't have enough mana to follow up.
It's actually good that some of the cores have died because they're back with full mana now.
Yeah, we can call that a silver lining.
Yeah, it's a tactical fountain. Save your TP. Looking at top side, they might be looking for a fight. Grimstroke silences the Willow. Are they gonna go in for this? Ember jumps in. Does he have slide chains? He chains the Willow to change the 2 support, and he jumps in again. But the fear, he's feared.
No, the Lich ulti completely useless. Tombstone committed on the side. Undying not gonna spend that heal on the Ember, and as a result, he is gonna fall. But they do trade the Viper. I don't know about that one. I think if they kept the Ember alive, he would have killed the Viper anyway, and they didn't need to trade there.
Definitely, I think this Undying's not very familiar with how Soul Real works, but Maybe they're just... Because then again, Viper is the most farmed hero in the whole game, so maybe they're happy with that trade.
I'm starting to think that Bud's picked the... Oh, wait, hold that thought. Taki goes in once again onto the Jakiro. A whiffed ice path, which will allow Taki to continue the chase. Is he gonna get this? One
He has
more
a sword
click. Oh,
shield
heal from the Undying. Catched by the Remnant, and he is just gonna fall at the end of the day. In the meantime, oh, Luna, fight's not over. Luna rotates in. Loosen Beam. Ill Scepter by the Void into a setup.
Oh,
Eclipse is gonna be
Eclipse?
blown. That is gonna cost the Undying his life. Meanwhile, both cores from Dire is gonna be up here now. What are they gonna get done though? They are against 4 of Radiant, and PA is gonna hit the dirt. Now Ember's in, and looks like Ember's also just gonna feed. What is happening? Team Minguins, they're falling apart. Grimstroke, not you as well. Oh no! Team Radiant just effectively team wiped Team Minguins off the back of poorly executed rotations. Oh no, 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 no.
Tower has fallen.
They have completely thrown their lead away. That's like a 3k advantage to Radiant. The Luna's completely caught up. She's actually second highest number in the whole game. Same with Void Spirit. And PA is all the way behind. Ember's like 6,500, but
Under attack.
Void Spirit and Luna both are 1,000 ahead. Oh no.
Oh
What
no,
are they
that
gonna do now?
was just some miscommunication from the team, I think, just between the cores. They should have cut their losses and backed up, but instead they forced a fight, a very unfavorable one, and they paid the price. They absolutely paid the price. And I don't think it's a price they can actually afford, as a top tier 1 will fall as a result of that, and as Radiant now set their objectives on the Dire mid tier 1. Will Radiant successfully grab this? Dire looks like they are trying to stage a defense, but quickly zoned out by Taki and the Viper, and the Radiant is gonna secure themselves that mid tier 1.
They're TPing bomb, looking at Jakiro. Loosen Beam to lead. Is there any follow-up? No, it seems to just be content with Luna farming.
It looks
Okay,
like
Jakiro gets out.
Team Minguins may have gotten budget
This should make my life
names
easier.
of the OG members, but they didn't get anything resembling budget skill from the OG members.
They're playing like a team OG, but they're not killing together, they're just dying together.
Void Spirit, kill on the... misses his ulti. Now he has nothing left. The PA sees the opening and is just gonna pick up a quick free kill. Taki overextending there and getting punished for it.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
We see Undying farming top lane, but I'm not sure if he should be the one getting all the safe farm. His PA is struggling to farm Ancients right now.
As I was trying to say before the sequence of events that happened, I think Undying was picked by Buds this game because he thought about a hero that needed experience but didn't need gold, and he rested on the Undying, and he didn't actually pick it because he knew it was a good solution. Like he didn't know it was a good tri-lane option. So now we are gonna see a shift, you know, advantage is now with the Radiant as all 3 of their cores continue to farm. And sure, Radiant, Dire also has the PA Ember that can farm, but this Undying, he's just struggling. Only just got his boots, actually.
The net worth graph definitely isn't looking good for Undying. He's slightly out of the ledge. Is he gonna die here? There's a DD Viper running him, but he'll find he's gonna get out. But yeah, as you said, this is... Radiant's completely caught up. Originally, the Luna was having a very bad time, but now she's like top net worth charts alongside the Viper.
Structures are
Yeah, now that her passives have been maxed, well, almost maxed, she is just gonna start
Radiant's bottom tower.
approaching some kind of terminal velocity, right? She's just gonna be farming so fast, and it's... I don't think Dire can keep up. Ember Spirit, Drum's Maelstrom, that's a fighting build. PA, the Desolator, fighting build. Undying, well, we've already discussed how he just doesn't farm. So we're just gonna see Radiant amass a significant gold advantage, and which will, like, swing the game in their favor.
I think Dire needs to look for a fight like right now. They tried to smoke up, but then they were afraid of Radiant's wards, and then they just backed off. They need to man up and just go. I don't think they have any more time to wait. The longer they wait, the crazier this Luna's gonna get with farm. She already has a Mask of Madness Manta. I'm very afraid for their late game. They don't have an offering. They just have free supports and this Ember and PA.
Yeah, that
They
you
might be
do
way
run
too-
the risk of that happening every time you draft an Undying Core, and I guess that's why he's kind of phased out as a core. I have seen Gork play him once, like in a recent game where he went Midas, but he did get a completely free lane. He wasn't laning, you know, into a try. Speaking of the Undying, he is gonna run into the Radiant Smoke, gonna get caught out by Taki. However, who's getting caught out? Undying Tombstone down. Leash is up from Radiant from the Dire, but oh no, Ember, he's in. But is this gonna be a feed? Viper does go down, but stun ulti. Ember falls as well. And PA
coming
has
in,
also
but-
been baited in. Will she be able to get anything out of this, or will she also just be feeding away her own life? Luna trying to kite her, mans up, turns around, and quickly finishes her off as Dire completely team wiped. Once again, I think their cores are just too trigger happy. They are just too willing to jump in no matter what kind of situation the team is already in after the supports get picked off and jumped.
I can respect them playing like a whole team. They're not gonna let the supports just die. They're gonna die with them. But I don't know if they're gonna win like this.
Yeah, I think they should be adopting the same play they did last night, where they were, you know, your two supports were dying to the Spectre, but your three cores are getting all the kills and they are surviving every fight. And that's not ideal, but it's great, right? If you win the fight as the core, you are gonna be the one who wins your team the game. Your support can only do so much once the game timer ticks to 25.
Exactly. I don't even think Radiant can lose any more fight now that they're very close to this Void Spirit Orchid, and there's no response from the Ember Spirit or the PA. They try to get their BKBs and PAs kind of close, but do you want to just BKB an Orchid from a Void Spirit that's just gonna run away with Astro Step?
Yeah, now that Radiant is ahead, this PA Deso is gonna do significantly less damage, and now that the BKB is coming out on that Ember and the natural magic resistance that Viper has, I think Dire might just start to experience some severe damage issues.
Yeah, I don't know about this Ember build. He's bought this drums, but he hasn't been able to get any kills. This Maelstrom's good for farming, but he's still struggling to get his BKB because he's just been feeding all the game.
I think Dire definitely put all their eggs in one basket, and that basket just
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
broke.
Yeah, the chain fell in the top lane, just kind of threw all their advantage away. They had such a good early game, and then they just decided to throw it. We might see a throw from Radiant somehow, but
Yeah, Dota is a game of mistakes. And we might just see Radiant make a couple of the same. Speaking of which, BKB is out on the PA, so this is a timing for Team Minguins. I am excited to see how they try and regain some kind of control over this game with this PA's BKB.
then again, you look at Luna, and she also has a fresh BKB, so...
Oh, speaking of that, yeah, they are smoked up. The Orchid on the Ember eels into a Remnant and stuns galore on this Ember Spirit as he's just gonna die without so much as being able to play Dota. He could have just had his hands off the keyboard and that wouldn't have made a single difference.
Yeah, I was gonna say this Orchid into use comp was beautiful, but then he didn't get punished at all. There's just too many stuns.
Yeah, the Orchid into eels, yeah, like that would have been a misplay, but doesn't matter when my team has so many lockdown for you. It does not matter that I just kind of use a couple extra, right?
Exactly. This Ember's so far behind now. He's 9k net worth at 27 minutes. This is so bad. This Luna's at top net worth 14k. It's like she didn't have a bad start. Oh, it's like she was the one winning the
Grimstroke
lane.
looks like he just might be getting caught as well. Once again, eels into Remnant, into the Dissimulate, and wait,
The
Grimstroke
Duckwiddle got deleted.
comes in, dies. Huge team fight coming out. BKB's being blown all over the place. The Ember's gonna join the fight, but his whole team's already dead. Mass buyback from the Dire. Every buyback that they can get, they are going to use. However, are they just coming back into their deaths? PA doesn't have a BKB. Ember is just gonna get run down. He is gonna get chains off, but to what? Okay, Taki does fall. 3 dead on the side of Radiant. Have they dived too deep? PA dieback. 2 diebacks coming out from Team Minguins. And another ultra kill for Ren as he hunts for that second rampage of the tournament. But it doesn't look like he's gonna... Oh, or is she?
He might
Will
get
she be
it.
getting it?
Middle tower is under
Oh, another rampage for my boy
Rampage.
Ren! He is just proving to be SEA's star player right now. It does
Wow.
look like Team Minguins is just falling apart. 2 diebacks while you're already behind.
Has fallen.
It does sound like this sound does feel like the beginning of the end for Team Minguins. That was the
This
full
Luna.
10-second BKB for the PA as well, but he just got bursted. The Luna just stood her ground and just clicked her down.
Yeah, it's like, I think this Luna just knows she's gonna catch up, so no concern, just throw me to the offlane, throw me to the roofs. I'm gonna come back into this game, and she has, look at this.
Yeah.
17k net worth at 29 minutes.
They put
The
a bet
second
on this
highest.
Luna.
Yep.
They played a Hail Mary and it absolutely worked out.
Dire's top tower
They
has
dodged the
fallen.
Undying Tri-Lane, and they didn't get punished at all somehow. This is some god tier play from this Luna.
Meanwhile, we do also have BKB on the Viper as well, something that we did not pick up in the middle of that fight, and it helped him just kind of stand in there with the Luna, and you just have 2 cores who are just unkillable, right? The BKB renders the Ember Spirit completely useless, and Luna naturally has high armor, especially with the Manta style and extra agility, and PA is just unable to do anything.
It's an interesting pickup by Luna for the Axe, considering the PA already has a BKB. So, I'm not too sure what this Axe is for, maybe the Ember? It still is a lot of damage though, so...
She might just, at this point, she might just be like, game's over. I am gonna establish my dominance. I have 2 rampages in 2 days. I'm just gonna own this.
And I mean, she can do it, she's so far ahead, I don't
Yeah.
think it matters when she dies.
I don't even hold this against her. Like, go for it, King. This is actually just crazy.
Dire's bottom tower.
They're looking to end this game right now, they're all grouping up in Dire's bottom tier 2, they might be looking for a tier 3 push at this stage, they don't even need the Roshan.
Dire's
Yeah, this Luna, I just don't see any way that Minguins can actually kill her. Or I don't even think they can so much as threaten her in a fight, let alone bring her low and maybe kill her.
So
So
what's the game plan for Dire's now? How do they come back into this game?
If I was looking at this in a ranked game, I would say Dire has pretty much completely lost. They have no cores that can farm and catch up and hit a timing. The only way they can maybe come back is if Radiant 322's couple of times in a row. I have casted watched quite a few SEA games. I do know that 322 is SEA's favorite number, honestly. So I would say that Team Dire still has a chance, but it is very, very slim.
They're gonna need the exact sequence of basically Void Spirit somehow jumping in and feeding first, and then everyone else dying, and then Luna comes in to feed.
Yeah, they're pretty much gonna need Radiant to do what they did.
Exactly, and that's very much possible.
However, you say that they don't need Aegis, but they're just gonna take it anyway. This whole map is just theirs for the taking.
This is surprisingly disciplined gameplay from Radiant. I was expecting a lot more SGA gameplay. I was expecting more caveman though at this stage, but... Oh, Roche is just waiting at it on the ledge. Well, are they actually roaching or are they just taunting Dire?
Does Dire know this is happening? They do
I
have a
don't think
smoke
they
if
do.
they want to contest this, but their PA is on the other side of the map. It doesn't seem like they want to do anything or that they even know what's happening.
They do have decent high ground defense for Jakiro Macro Pyre, but with a Luna Aegis, I'm not even sure she cares about the Macro Pyre. Radiant's gonna back off after getting his Aegis to clear a top.
Wonder what Roshan ever
So
did
what
to
is the
her.
game plan for Dire? What do they do now?
I
Now that
think
they've-
they have to try and smoke out because every second that ticks by, the Radiant lineup just farms more and more while you are just stuck in base. And so they have to smoke out. They have to try and use what advantage, what power they have left, get a couple of pickoffs that are on support or maybe cores that are farming alone, and slowly slow down the game that way, keep doing the same thing a couple of times, and eventually kill their way back into this game. I don't think they can farm their way back into this game, not with the item build that all their cores have. And at this point, I don't know what to call this Undying, because he sure as hell is not a core.
It's like we're back to the old offlane 1v3 days. He experienced a suicide lane at least, so... Oh, speaking
Luna,
of which,
quick skirmish happening. Taki, Jakiro is gonna throw out that ice path, but then just gonna run away. That Luna has Aegis, has BKB, has an Axe. You do not want to be messing around with her.
even if somehow Radiant all dies before the Luna does, I think this Luna can actually 1v5 the whole Dire.
I think so too. I honestly think so. That Axe is gonna just take care of the 3 supports in the backline, no problem. Because you know the 2 cores are just gonna BKB, and that means that the Luna ulti is just gonna hit the support, and it's just gonna be a field trip.
Yep, this Luna has more net worth than the PA and the Ember combined, and like a miracle has to happen here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We talked about Radiant throwing a Hail Mary at the start of this game, but at this point, Dire's gonna need more than a Hail Mary. They're gonna need some kind of, like you said, a miracle to pull this game back to even. It looks... Oh, Ember is just gonna run away after a quick slide in. Afraid that even though he had vision there, he saw that the Void Spirit was just a little bit isolated, and yet he doesn't commit. And
I
so
think he was
now,
afraid of the Orchid. He doesn't want to use his 10-second BKB
oh,
on
Taki's already in, and Luna Eclipse is just gonna hit all on the Undying, and he's just gonna fall, no buyback. However,
Bridge up
Luna, Aegis, is he gonna pop? It's gonna pop, but at what cost? Ember falls. PA's BKB about to run out. Viper trying to stand his ground is also gonna fall. Lich ulti thrown out, bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. Holy crap! We just saw that Lich. Sure, he dies, but he takes the PA and the Grimstroke with him.
Dire's middle tower is
Oh my
Uh-oh.
god! And now it's a Luna against a Jakiro, and I don't think the Luna is so much as she's not worried. It's a Jakiro. What is the Jakiro gonna do? Like, watch as you take everything you love from him, everything he loves from him. Probably. Look, that's exactly what's happening.
Wow, I can't believe Radiant's game plan actually worked. The president did die, so they have a lot of spies coming in for the grand finals. This one should take over this whole Dire base, and there's no buyback, so this could be Megas.
I think this is absolutely at least 2 racks, if not Megas. Luna looks like she's hitting tier 4s. Is she trying to end? Forces out the macro pyre from Jakiro, so that's gonna be 1 less team fight ultimate. And then she is just gonna back up as the rest of Dire is respawning, and she does not want to be caught out and potentially feed her lead away. Although I think at this point it's gonna take some solid effort from Team Radiant to throw this game. Like, we are actually gonna have to see some 3-2-2 to the max.
If I'm Dire though, I would actually get morale boost from that last fight, because we thought this Luna was actually a god, but she bled
Gods
last time.
can
She
bleed.
lost her Aegis. Exactly. Now that they sense blood, they could actually... That they know they can kill Luna now. The only question is, how do they execute a fight like that again? Because if Luna didn't have Aegis, I think Dire could have won that fight.
Yeah, I think you might be right. They did take out both cores, and if Luna wasn't respawning, PA, like, might have lived. Yeah, might have lived, might have been able to turn the fight. But keep in mind, Radiant did get a even more net worth advantage after that fight because they did take those buildings. And so it just got harder for Dire to get that same fight.
Yeah, that's true, but there's a fresh Basher in PA, and this
Pray-
could help her kill the voice.
Pray that she has enough battle pass levels and Gaben smiles on her. But if she doesn't get those bashes that she needs, it's gonna be a hard game.
It will be a hard game either way. But that Lich played so well, and I can just bring the fact that this Lich bought a Veil of Discord, and I really like this pickup considering how this Luna went for an axe. I don't know if they talked about this, but this Veil is actually putting in so much work considering
Yeah,
Void Spirit.
Yeah, actually, yeah, now that you point it out, all of Team Radiant is magic damage. It's like even the Luna with that Axe spell prism, she is just also a magic damage carry that, you know, dishes out chunky physical damage as well. And this Veil is gonna go a long way. Meanwhile, Dire does smoke out, doesn't end up catching anything. Will they be caught on the way back though? Grimstroke playing with fire here, not that he knows. I don't think
Might
either
see
team
a-
actually knew how close they were to each other there.
Ooh, looks like we're back to high ground Siege is
Ooh,
PA gonna
PA,
die?
oh,
Oh,
Orchid
Orchid.
on the creep. Eels. Remnant is gonna go in. Grimstroke is gonna commit that ulti. BKB immediately jumping onto the
Just
Luna.
running
Will
low.
they get the burst? It doesn't look like it. PA is just gonna fall. No buyback. Luna's still very healthy. Is just gonna BKB walk in. Ember super low as well. Once again, Undying not using the heal on the core. Jakiro, meanwhile, also gets caught out. Oh no! Four stabs himself and stuns the Undying. As a result, Undying's also just gonna fall, and that's the 4 dead on Team Dire with only 1 buyback on their Jakiro.
I think there was definitely some miscommunication because you see the Ember hesitate going in compared to last fight where he just jumped in with the PA.
And it looks
And I
like,
think
yeah, it looks like that's just...
that would be game.
That is game. Ember falls, and GG is caught by Minguins.
Well played to this Luna. This is the biggest comeback as a core I've ever seen. From having 0 items to this level of net worth, just well played, and the Rampage too.
Yeah.
Completely deserved.
I mean, we were saying how much Ren's Tarts was misplaying in the early game, but they absolutely brought it back. Like you said, that Luna, biggest comeback I have seen this tournament, at least in the SEA bracket, and Lich had his moments, Willow had her moments, and it looks like all of Ren's Tarts just showed up today ready to take those $10 Steam gift cards.
Yeah, if they play like this in the grand finals, I think they can actually take this away. That was very convincing, very disciplined gameplay from them. We were a bit suspicious at first with what their game plan with Luna was, but we've been proven wrong. This Luna's perfectly fine.
Yeah. MVP, actually, let's talk about that. I mean, I think we are both in agreement. At least I know for a fact. Me personally, Luna has to be the MVP this game.
Definitely.
Yeah, she just farmed back up so quickly. Her team did play a huge part in allowing her to do so, but once she did get herself back to respectable, respectable net worth, she absolutely just took over the game and did not let go for a single second after that.
Yep. Her eclipses were perfect. She had no never for some point, like she was level 7, but she just ran with eclipse and got a double kill, and she just kept doing that while farming when she has no eclipse. That was textbook carry play. That was very beautiful gameplay. So I think, yeah, definitely MVP Luna. She just, nobody even made space for it. She just did it all by herself. I don't think there's not much else to add.
Alright, well, that is our lower bracket finals, and we are unfortunately saying goodbye to Minguins. Ren's team is moving on to play Yarrick's team in the SEA Best of 3 Grand Finals coming after this break.